If you don't have much weightlifting equipment at home, then chances are working out your upper body can be difficult. But if you've got just one resistance band, then I have got you covered in this resistance band upper body workout. Welcome back to Total Body Training. My name is Jean Carlos, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the subscription button. On this channel, we go over fitness tips, trends, and tutorials to help you stay informed and get in shape. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If it ain't your thing, then give it a thumbs down. Today we're going to be going over 4 different upper body exercises. 2 chest exercises, 1 back exercise, and then hitting up your shoulders. Let's jump into the video. The first exercise is the resistance band chest fly. You're going to take your resistance bands and then run them along the back part of your back, and make sure that the band is not really low down your back. It's just somewhat around the shoulder blade area, but the bands are sitting on top of your arms. So they're not in between, so your elbows aren't trapped inside. It's more inside of the bands. The bands are more like they're sitting on top and against the top parts of your shoulders, biceps, and triceps. Then you're going to grip the bands like you're holding 2 dumbbells. You're going to lay back on the ground and extend your arms forward like you're pressing. And then from there, you're going to keep a slight bend in the arms, extend the arms, bring them down and then up, down and then up. The most common mistake that people make when doing the resistance band chest flies are moving your arms too fast. And I see people doing this all the time, especially with resistance bands in general. If you move your arms way too fast, then what happens is that the concentric and the eccentric portion of the movement don't get the proper work that they're supposed to do. So when you're coming up and you're squeezing, the bands naturally are going to want to rip you down to the ground. And if you flap back too quickly when you're doing it, you're not really getting the proper flex in your muscles. Your muscles aren't getting used correctly. Time under tension builds muscle, so make sure that you've got a nice concentric and eccentric part of the movement, that on the way up when you're doing your flies, you're coming down at the same exact rate. You're not flapping your arms like you're a bird or a butterfly or something. The next exercise is the resistance band seated chest press. You are going to take your bands and place them along your back. Again, you're gonna put it in a similar position as to how you place the bands in the last exercise. It's gonna go across the back, on the top upper part of your back, not super low down the back, kind of in line with your shoulder blades. Really, this is about what feels right for your body. So if you have a back that's a little bit more rounded per se, you might set the bands up slightly differently. But either way, what you're gonna wanna be looking for is for the top parts of the bands to be resting on top of your arms right along here. And then you're going to grip both sides of the bands. You're going to hold them out. Hold the elbows to your sides and pinch your shoulder blades back so that your spine is kind of arched and open, and then press forward and then come back down with the movement. Press forward and then come back down with the movement. The most common mistake that I see with this exercise is not getting a full extension or half repping. People will push the band somewhat forward, but then come back real quickly without getting a full extension in the chest. We call this half repping. You're only going a part of the way or a partial. Make sure that you're going the whole way and that you're coming back with the movement and you're getting a full stretch through the entire chest muscle. This is going to help with chest growth and chest development. If you're only going part of the way, then you're only feeling part of the movement, and you will still feel the exercise. It's just that you won't get the right stretch that you're supposed to get in the chest muscle. You only get that deep stretch and that deep strength training when you create that time under tension from taking the muscle through the full range of motion. Next is the single arm row and tricep kickback. This exercise is both a back exercise and a tricep exercise, so we're combining them. What you're going to do is you're going to take your band and place it underneath your foot. Now, the placement of the band underneath your foot can affect how challenging it is to row and then tricep kick back the band back. So play with a position that is both right for the rowing part of the movement and the tricep part of the movement, the kickback part of the movement. The kickback part of the movement is generally a little bit more challenging than the rowing part of the movement because the triceps are a smaller muscle group than the lats, which are the muscle group that you're using when you're doing the row. Either way, place that band underneath your foot. Grab it with either a hammer grip where you're grabbing the entire band like you see me doing here, or with your hands inside of the loops, whatever is most comfortable for you. You can see the one that I chose here is my preference for this exercise. And then from there, you are going to hold your hand down by your side, keep your body straight, make sure that your shoulders are even, make sure your chest is open, your shoulder blades are pinched back, and with no momentum, you are going to row your arm up. And then from there, pinch your elbow to your side and kick your forearm back. Then bring that arm back down to the starting position and then row it all the way down. So row up, kick back, unkick, and then unrow. So we're breaking it down in those multiple movements. The most common mistake with this movement is not getting a full extension with the tricep kickback. The is that you're using a resistance that is too extreme for your triceps. So maybe you've got the row down, but when you go to kick the band back, you feel like you can't completely straighten out your arm all the way. And if you can't straighten it out all the way, then what's happening is your triceps are barely getting the proper work that's needed in order for them to grow. If you play around with the placement of the band underneath your foot, you can, for example, put more slack in the band underneath your foot, and this will make the resistance kick back a little bit easier, or you'll have less resistance, I should say, when you're kicking back, but then you're sacrificing your upper back when you're doing that. I'm saying that in the process of trying to adjust how much weight or resistance you're creating with the band for the kickback, you might find that you're taking away from your row. If that's the case and you feel like you can't find a good in-between, then what I recommend doing is just doing the row, just doing the rowing part of the movement. So you're just rowing up and down and then stopping and doing the kickbacks as a separate exercise for a tricep kickback. So you're just doing the tricep kickbacks. You can break up the movement that way and that'll be perfectly fine. Here we're just trying to offer you some different kinds of options for doing your training differently, especially if you're already used to doing the row or you're already used to doing the kickback. Sometimes doing a new exercise is a great way to refresh yourself and feel like you're doing something new. These compound movements are a fun way to do just that. The last exercise is the resistance band front lateral raise. This is a shoulder exercise. And when we're doing this movement, it's going to be working out the front delt, and it's also going to be working out the center delt. The shoulder's broken up into a front, medial, and posterior, or anterior, medial, and posterior portions of the shoulder. When you are doing this movement, what we're engaging when we're doing the front part of the movement, the front raise, is the front delt. And then to the side, when you're picking up the band to the side, we're working out the medial delt. So how do we do it? You're going to take your band and you're going to hold it with an overhanded position, similar to how you would hold a dumbbell. You're going to place the band underneath your foot. Grab the band like you would with a dumbbell. If you'd like, you can place your other hand on your hip and then stand with your feet wide so you've got a nice base with your feet underneath your hips. You're going to bring the band up so that it's in line with your eyes, and then bring it back down, and then bring it up to the side, and then bring it back down. You're gonna bring it up forward, and then bring it back down, and then bring it up to the side, and bring it back down. The most common mistake with this exercise is bringing the band either too low or too high. If you're bringing it up like way overhead, like you're raising your hands in a classroom to ask the teacher a question, then you aren't quite engaging the muscles in the way that's necessary for this exercise. That turns into maybe more of a back exercise or a swinging exercise. So you're not really engaging the front delt and the medial delt correctly. Also, if you're bringing it too low, then chances are you've got too much weight on the band, or too much resistance coming from the band. So you're gonna need to create some more slack so that you've got less tension, or swap out the resistance band that you're using for a lighter resistance band so that when you come up, you can engage it at least eye level or about a little bit over your head. If it's going overhead, then chances are you are either using momentum or the resistance band is too light. So you need to either create some more resistance in the band, or you need to get a different band with stronger resistance. All right, people, and that does it for today's video. Question of the day: what do you think is the most challenging shoulder exercise that you can do? And it can be a resistance band shoulder exercise or a dumbbell exercise or a machine exercise, whatever you think is the most difficult. Let me know down in the comments section below. Mine personally is the Arnold press. I am a big fan of Arnold pressing. I like it because it works out the entirety of the shoulder. You're twisting your arms, your shoulders when you're doing the movement. I get really fatigued when I'm doing that motion and opening up my arms. If you don't know what that is, we have videos on that you can watch down in the description section of this video. I would go and check those out. All right, people, if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of 2021. All right, people, until next time, peace.